But I never dreamed when I was milking cows in Boone, North Carolina, that I would ever be working in Washington, much less delivering a subpoena to bring down a president of the United States.
But that's what happened 50 years ago when the scandal erupted that has put its name on every scandal since. Watergate.
And as Bob reports in this evening's Buckley Report, a man from right here in North Carolina was right in the middle of it.
At the time, it seemed so innocuous. What happened here on that cool June night in 1972?
The Washington Post had a little article about that size that said there was a break-in at the Watergate complex and nothing occurred.
But what was shrugged off at the time as a third-rate burglary,
there we go,
brought down the leader of the free world.
And who knew we'd be still talking about this?
Once Washington Post reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein began revealing connections between that burglary and the Nixon White House, no one could stop talking about it.
That's at the hearings, yeah.
The Senate committee set up to investigate the Watergate scandal was led by North Carolina's Sam Ervin, who liked to refer to himself as a simple country lawyer, though he was educated at Harvard.
The committee met in executive session this morning.
The hearings were the original must-see TV, a real first when they were broadcast live in the summer of 1973. And right there behind Senator Ervin each day was that young lawyer from Boone, Rufus Edmiston. The hearings began mundane enough.
John Dean had testified for about 2.5 days, drolling on.
I began by telling the president that there was a cancer growing on the presidency.
Drolling on. We thought he'd never stop.
I then explained to him that the message that Hunt had told O'Brien the preceding Friday to be
and then a bombshell.
Authority were they installed, Mr. Butterfield?
On the president's authority by way of Mr. Haldeman and Mr. Higbee.
Presidential assistant Alexander Butterfield revealed that Nixon had secretly taped all of his Oval Office conversations.
Then we knew that we were onto something that was looking like it was a national scandal.
But Nixon refused to turn over the tapes.
Confidentiality of presidential conversations is at stake in the question of these tapes. I must and I shall oppose any efforts to destroy this principle.
There was a meeting in Senator Ervin's office, and they were saying, now, how are we going to get those tapes, the committee members? And all of a sudden, Senator Ervin said, well, we ought to talk to the president first. And he said to me, he said, Rufus, go get the president on the phone.
And he did. But later...
This is a subpoena that I delivered on the White House that very hot day.
Edmiston went one better.
This is a who's who. John Ehrlichman, John Dean, Charles Colson. Did all the people on this?
All the people on there showed up at the hearing.
He delivered the subpoena that forced Nixon to turn over the tapes.
What was going through your mind as you rode down Pennsylvania Avenue and then walked into the executive office building?
And we arrived at the White House, and I realized that there must have been 100 reporters there lined up, because this was a big deal. It was going to determine whether or not the facts would come out. It was very significant that a subpoena had been delivered, and here I was, a little boy from Boone, North Carolina, doing that.
Although Nixon wasn't aware of the plans to break into the Democratic headquarters, the tapes revealed he led the cover-up.
On the money, if you need the money. I mean, well, I think that's where what I mean is you can get $1 million, and you can get it in cash. I know where it can be gotten.
With that evidence, even Nixon knew that it was over by the summer of '74.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
I've often wondered if he had just said early on, I'm going to destroy these tapes. I think he could have done it. There would have been no penalty for it. I think they were his tapes. He probably would have survived the presidency.
But we now know how the story ends. Richard Nixon left.
So au revoir. We'll see you again.
All because he'd been served by that young man from Boone, Bob Buckley. Fox 8 News.
Here too.
In 1974, Edmiston became Attorney General in North Carolina, a job he kept for 10 years until he ran for governor in 1984 and lost to Republican Jim Martin. Edmiston then served as North Carolina's Secretary of State from 1988 through 1996. He still practices law in Raleigh.